Good evening, everyone. My name is John Nolan. I'll be your MC tonight. Thanks so much for coming, especially those of you who came from a distance to join us for a truly special evening. I hope everyone enjoyed the opportunity to have some hors d'oeuvres out there and to grab drinks as well. And hopefully you brought your drinks inside, and if you did, maybe you'll even laugh at one or two things that I say here this evening. But again, thank you so much from our athletes and coaches and honorees, family members, supporters, so many important people as part of the journeys in these Hall of Fame stories that we'll be celebrating here tonight. Personally, growing up as a sports-obsessed kid, I had a dream of becoming a college athlete one day. When the reality set in that the growth spurt wasn't coming, I transitioned my mindset into thinking that maybe broadcasting would be the way to go. And so over the last 5 years, I've had the privilege of being involved on the broadcast side here with the Mastodons, in particular calling the men's basketball games on TV, when I'm not calling Tin Caps games over at Parkview Field. And it's truly been an honor and a privilege to be associated with the Mastodons. And that said, I never even had the dream as a kid of going on to become a Hall of Famer one day. But now, thanks to Kevin Hart backing out tonight, I get the chance to be your MC and have my name, at least in the Hall of Fame program, even if one of those plaques isn't for me. But honestly, I am so proud to get to call myself a Mastodon by association. What an exciting time it is to be a part of the Mastodon family right now. Enrollment on the rise and an athletic program that continues to ascend too. Just looking at the last year, the Mastodons have produced multiple Summit League champions, teams that have set records for success, individuals who've set records for success, a nationally ranked team, not to mention unprecedented success in the classroom and hours upon hours that student athletes have dedicated as volunteers in this community. It really is a hallmark and a shining bright spot for the entire Fort Wayne community, not just for the Purdue Fort Wayne community that we have here. So many fantastic people that we have a chance to celebrate tonight. As a baseball broadcaster by training, I could go on talking here for about 3 hours uninterrupted. I'll cut myself off right now, though, and let's get to it. And for the leader behind all the success that the Mastodons are experiencing right now, I'd like to introduce the Director of Athletics, Kelly Hartley Hutton.
Gosh, thanks, John. How do you follow that? John's a pro, as you can see. Broadcaster, TV broadcaster, the Mastodons. We see him at Tin Caps, too, and, of course, a friend. So thanks for doing this tonight, John. Really appreciate it. On behalf of Purdue Fort Wayne Department of Athletics, welcome to the 2019 Hall of Fame induction. A very special welcome, of course, to the 4 inductees who can be here tonight: Patrick Kelley, Johanna Lewis-Carlisle, Mary Schreiber, and Nick Wise. Welcome home to you. Of course, Kristina could not be here, and we're disappointed about that. And I half wanted to call her employer and be like, it's a Hall of Fame, come on here. I'll also start by saying that the committee, certainly when we talked about the inductees, there was a theme. There was definitely a theme. And that was that all of them, in one way or another, were here and represented the institution through times of change and transition and growth. And I think that's really important to note. Nick's years, I think I have this right, were at the end of IPFW's Division II era and the first years of Division I membership. John and Patrick played during at least some of those independent years. Some of us might remember when IPFW didn't really have a home and a conference and no postseason play, and really not an opportunity for postseason accolades either. And then Kristina, the very first part of Division I Summit League play. So all of them a little bit something different. And then Mary. Where is Mary? There's Mary. And then Mary, my goodness. Every institution has that person, that woman, who decides, you know what, we're gonna do this, and she coaches and she does the job of 3 administrators for very little money, just so that women have an opportunity to participate in sport. And you were her. Thank you, Mary. Congratulations and thank you to all of you. This class's inductees are pretty special, and thank you for, and I want to recognize your accomplishments. They'll be on the board all evening as you walk up for us to all read. Counting the 5 outstanding people here tonight, well, 4 of them here tonight, but 5 being inducted, our Hall of Fame grows to 67 people. 10 former inductees are here tonight. So thank you for coming back and letting us continue to celebrate your accomplishments and your legacy to our institution. Stick around, because on your way out, we do have a gift for you. Don't forget that. And then, of course, at the end of the program, we'll want you up here for a photo, too. Also want to recognize a few other people. I'll go quick here, but we have some head coaches here tonight. Baseball coach Bobby Pierce. Bobby, where are you? Just wave, everybody. Yep, Bobby. Over there. Softball coach Jermaine Fairchild. Women's basketball coach Nisi Nelson. Men's basketball coach John Kaufman. And men's golf coach Billy King. Oh, no, good. He's standing back there. A little shout out to Hall of Famer, soccer great, just retired. I know, he looks too young. I don't know what he's doing, but retired from coaching men's soccer, assistant coach men's soccer. And, you know, I don't know what you're doing with your free time. We'll take you back. But Hall of Famer Bron Pfeiffer, shout out to you. Mike Harper, I was coming back to Mike. Affectionately known as Mitch in some crowds. Mike Harper, men's soccer coach. I saved this for last because really their best year in the Division I era this year. So Bron went out on top. Also, thank you for staff for being here, particularly Ashley Malone and Ash Smith, who organized this event. Great job. The committee, thank you for your work. Another great class. Great job. Well done. And lastly, we cannot possibly do events like this without strong partnerships from our community partners and friends. So here tonight, thank you to our sponsor, Lutheran Health Network and Optimum Performance Sports. Dr. Russell, founder of OPS, is here. I have a little gift for you. Would you mind coming up? All your golf trophies.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And thanks to OPS, certainly part of the Mastodon family all year long. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Chancellor Ron Elsenbaumer. Truly, this man has re-energized our campus. And yes, John talked about this, enrollment's up, the residence halls are full, and that's all great stuff for our community. But let me share with you a little insight to who he is as a leader. He sits in the student section at almost every home game in the Gate Center. He met face-to-face with our student athletes in his very first month on the job and asked them and listened to what was important to them. And then today, I think this is very telling, I saw him high five with the Mastodon at the homecoming celebration, and he was doing the wave with our students. So yes, those numbers are very important, enrollment's very important, but it's about relationships, and thanks for being here tonight. Chancellor Elsenbaumer.
Well, thank you, Kelly. Thank you so much. And thank you for all that you are doing for our university and our athletics programs as well. And John, I share with you the lack of that growth spurt gene. I like playing sports. I'm pretty good at playing sports. At least I used to be a long time ago. And so tonight, it is a great honor for me to be here with you because you are all, in my mind, incredibly special individuals special to our university and to our athletics program in general. Not just our Hall of Famers that are here tonight, but our very strong supporters. You mean so much to us. Our Hall of Famers are the incredible individuals, not just great students, not just wonderful athletes, but overachievers that have accomplished so much at this institution, both personally and on the court and in their sport, that has brought so much recognition to our institution for so many years, helping us build a tremendous reputation here at our institution. And for that, I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to all of our student athletes. I want to say thank you to our new inductees that will continue that tradition of expressing and showing others what they can accomplish and what is so important for so many others to follow in their footsteps. So I want to say thank you all for being here this evening. Thank you for what you do. And again, looking forward this evening to celebrating and congratulating our new inductees into the Hall of Fame. Thank you. Hope to see you again in years to come as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Chancellor. So well said. And this is really a fantastic week to have a celebration like this. It's homecoming week, so the student athletes of today right now are following in your footsteps. The Hall of Fame was also a trending topic this week as the Baseball Hall of Fame announced its class of 2019. And not to go on a tangent here, but Mariano Rivera, the first ever unanimous selection for the Baseball Hall of Fame after all these years. And that probably says more about the issues with some of the voters in the past than it does with any of the all-time greats. Luckily here we have an awesome selection committee that does a far better job of making sure that we have some first ballot and some unanimous inductees. So how about a round of applause to those behind the scenes who work so hard to keep this tradition alive. All right, well, now to meet this year's class, I'd like to introduce our first introducer. In the leadoff spot, it's head softball coach Jermaine Fairchild.
Thanks, John. I appreciate it. And good evening, everyone. And congratulations to the class of 2019 on your Hall of Fame inductions. When we consider what constitutes an athletic career that rises to the level of Hall of Fame recognition, we think of concrete measures of success that set a candidate apart. Kristina Karpun certainly made lasting impressions on the record books, like the time she hit 3 home runs in a Summit League doubleheader with UMKC, during her junior year, when she led the team in every major offensive category and registered the highest batting average in the entire Summit League. She still holds single-season program records for slugging percentage, home runs, total bases, and for her career, she ranks second all-time in slugging percentage, home runs, and runners caught stealing, and she holds the 4th highest fielding percentage. But for the inductee in this case, Kristina's journey to this moment seems to have had very little to do with accumulating stats and accolades. Kristina is being honored tonight and inducted into our Hall of Fame because she loved the process. Not every minute of it, I'm sure, like early morning workouts and tarp removal. But the memories and lifelong friends she made working together with her teammates to become winners and supporting them in truly meaningful ways on and off the field. Teammate Jill Price, now Jill Igara, told me that through her 2 knee surgeries, Chris was there for her through the rehab, the down moments, and all of the recovery. She drove her around to PT appointments, practices, constantly reminding her that she would get through it, and it would be so worth it. Jill described Chris as truly selfless and a wonderful friend and teammate. Chris was proud to be a Don, and even more proud to represent Canada as a Mastodon student athlete. She was ever grateful for the opportunities her coach, Amy Tudor, made possible for her here in Fort Wayne. And she expressed that gratitude with unwavering leadership on the field. Chris told me that she wouldn't trade her 4 years as a Mastodon for anything in the world, and that she never imagined she would be voted into the Hall of Fame. I think that's because her focus was on the team and what that team could accomplish and what she could do to help. Teammate Sarah Swanson told me that Chris never let an amazing game or a bad game change her approach at the plate or on the field. She was cool, calm, and collected always, and always found a way to keep her teammates engaged in the game and focused on collective success. Jill Igara said, Chris had the ability to relate to everyone on the team and keep everyone on track, which is why I think she made such a great team captain. Her presence on the team helped Fort Wayne softball make a competitive turn for the better. Teammate Ava Edgar echoed those sentiments, telling me, Chris's leadership skills and drive for the game helped our team tremendously. She was one of the core building blocks of that team, and it would not have been the same without her. Indeed, when Chris arrived as a freshman, the team was losing twice as much as it was winning. By the end of her senior year, the opposite was true. It is my honor to present 2019 Hall of Fame inductee, Kristina Karpun.
My name is Kristina Karpun, and I played softball for the IPFW Mastodons from 2007 to 2011 in softball. I'm so happy and so honored to be considered for the Mastodon Hall of Fame. I'm so honored to be accepting this award today, and I want to say first off, congratulations to all of the other inductees today. I'm so thrilled to be part of such a diverse athletic class. And I am sorry to have missed meeting you all, but congratulations to you and all of your hard work during your time as a Mastodon. I wish I could be there today, but unfortunately I am in Canada, in Vancouver, BC, which is where I spent all of my years building up and leading up to my Mastodon career. It's where I learned to play softball and where I joined competitive sports. Really, when I think back on my Mastodon career, it's amazing, and I'm not even sure how I got to Fort Wayne. I played for the same competitive team for about 8 years. That was coached by Roger Boyley, so shout out to Roger. He worked my skills up to a level that allowed me to play college sports. I never knew which sport I would excel at growing up. I played them all, probably all the sports that the Mastodons currently offer today. And it wasn't until about my junior year that I really figured out that it was going to be softball. It was what I was best at, and it's what I enjoyed the most, and it's what took up most of my time. It was my hobby. So it probably wasn't until about March of my senior year, so that was 2007, the same year that I became a Mastodon, where I started seriously considering traveling abroad to play softball. I had it in my head from the start that I was going to stay local and go to one of the local universities, which actually does have a decent softball program. And it wasn't until about March where I started to consider going abroad. I got a call from Keith Fisher. He was the head coach at the time. And I was actually catching for my fellow classmate, Rachel Stashchuk, in her video. And that's how it happened. I just happened to be in the right place at the right time. I was in Rachel's video catching for her. She's a pitcher. And the Mastodons needed a catcher. So Keith Fisher called me up and said, what can I do to bring you to Fort Wayne and become a Mastodon? And shout out to Keith Fisher, because it probably was the most mad rush to get somebody enrolled as you could have had. I think I made the deadline by a couple of weeks with my SAT scores. So shout out to Keith and his staff for making it happen and getting me out to Fort Wayne in the first place, and to the athletic department, who was able to provide the funds for me to make that dream a reality. I didn't know what I was getting into when I came to Fort Wayne. It wasn't anything I had expected. I'd never visited the campus before. I set foot on it for the first time in August of 2007. I was only going off of what my friend and teammate Rachel had told me prior to arriving. It was a shock, but everybody was so friendly and so welcoming and made me really feel part of a family, that I think that that's probably the highlight of my time as a Mastodon. If it wasn't for my teammates and all the athletic and academic support that I had, I'm not sure I would have lasted a full 4 years away from home and from my family. So shout out to everybody, all of my teammates, everybody I met along the way had some sort of an impact on my time and career at IPFW and my success. So I would like to thank a few people. First person I want to thank is Roger Boyley, who was my competitive league coach growing up for about 8 years, and we're still in contact to this day. He still coaches, and some of his players are still currently playing for the Mastodons. I'd like to thank Keith Fisher and his staff for making it happen, for getting me to Fort Wayne, and pushing me outside of my comfort zone to do something like that, which I never thought that I would be doing. I'd like to thank Amy Tudor, who coached me for my junior and senior year and really elevated my game. I don't think I would have necessarily been as successful as a player if it wasn't for her instruction and guidance. So thank you, Amy. I'd also like to thank Chris Kuznar, who was instrumental in getting my academics sorted out. She was, I can't thank her enough. She got me involved in the community. She put me on track to graduating in time in 4 years when I had changed my major a few times. So thank you, Chris. I'd like to thank the athletic department for making my time as a Mastodon possible, and for giving me the support that I needed along the way. I'd also like to thank, obviously, my friends and family for all the support throughout all of the years. I probably played softball for a total of 12 years, and it was 12 short years because they were so busy and so filled with games and tournaments and practices. And so to all my friends and family who helped me through my athletic career, thank you. Again, congratulations to all of the honorees today. I wish I could have been there to meet you all. Have a fantastic evening, and go Dons!
Congratulations again to Kristina, and as her wonderful story just demonstrated, there are so many people who make these Hall of Fame careers and journeys possible, and among them coaches. And so now to introduce our next Hall of Famer, a guy who was part of the journey and has been here a decade now himself, and as big of a Mastodon supporter as I know, men's golf head coach Billy King.
I have to admit I'm a little bit nervous. That it doesn't always happen. First and foremost, it's my honor to stand before you all and have a small part in this great evening. Patrick Kelley and I spent 5 months together as his coach. because it happened this way. I get a call on a Monday from Mr. Heffron saying, hey, our golf coach didn't show up. You want to be our next golf coach at IPFW? I said, what? So I looked at the roster, and what do I see? Oh, Patrick Kelley, Blackhawk Christian. He was pretty daggum good. I said, this might be just the gig for me to make me happy. So then it started, didn't it, Patrick? January, winter day, as Patrick's coach. Patrick epitomizes the meaning and the requirements, I believe, to be inducted into the Mastodon Hall of Fame. He represented and maintained the core values at all times, and all the times in his time at IPFW. Academic excellence. Patrick was a two-time academic All-American third team member, 2008 and 2009. Social responsibility. Patrick was always a leader in volunteering with our team, both for kids, organizations on campus, and whatever we ask of him, Patrick always said yes. Third, athletic accomplishments. Selected all-independent team, honorable mention his freshman year. Summit League Golfer of the Week on multiple occasions. 3 top 5 finishes. 8 top 10 finishes. When he graduated, his scoring average was the best in Mastodon golf history. He was always a person of integrity, both on and off the golf course. He was a player that all his teammates looked up to and inspired to be in all aspects of life, not just golf. In a year of first for our men's golf program, with Zach Schrader winning the Summit League Championship this year, it's my honor and privilege to announce Patrick Kelley as the first men's golf inductee into the Hall of Fame.
Well, he said he was nervous. But yes, still, thank you, Coach King, for that introduction. I really appreciate it. I'm truly grateful to be here today in front of everyone. It's an honor. And again, first of all, thanks to the induction committee for being able to be up here today. It's an honor for this recognition. I also want to congratulate the other inductees here today. It's an honor to be part of this Hall of Fame class for this year. So while I wish I had time to thank everyone that's had an impact in my life over the years, I want to really thank my family for being here tonight and being supportive of me. And no two people I can't say thank you enough to would be my parents here, Chuck and Wendy. They had made countless sacrifices for me over the years, whether it was driving me all over the country for golf tournaments growing up, or just giving me all the opportunities I could ever ask for, whether it was in golf or any other aspects of my life. So, and with that, golf has always been a huge part of our family growing up, especially in the city of Fort Wayne. And we used to take a lot of trips together, and there's definitely one story in particular I like to share that involves my dad and my brother when we were playing golf down in Florida one round. It was, my dad's already laughing. I think he knows where this is going. So we were playing down at this course that was set right on the Atlantic Ocean. It was a beautiful day that day. So we had arrived at the 16th tee that day, and we were waiting to tee off, and John just looks over and asks my dad, he's like, hey, Dad, can I hit a ball out into the ocean? My dad looks out over the water. There's no people on the beach or anything, nobody in sight, but he looks back at John and goes, oh, I doubt it. So John definitely didn't appreciate that joke as much as my dad or I did, but he continued to go tee up a golf ball and take a look out, and he couldn't have been more than 13 or 14 at the time, but you could tell he was ready. He was really excited to hit that ball out into the water. Probably a little too excited because that ball happened to travel no more than 10 feet into the bushes right in front of the tee box. So as soon as that happened, I mean, all of us were in tears, and it just made it really difficult to play the rest of the way in. But I mean, it's just things like that, memories like that I've shared with family and friends over the years that have just brought so much love for golf. So I spent the first 28 years of my life in Fort Wayne, and and loved it. And most of my family still just lives here, and it's where I learned to play the game that I love. I graduated, as Coach King said, from Blackhawk Christian. I was able to learn a lot of things there from my golf coach there, and he's another guy I need to thank, is Terry Elijah. I mean, he was one of the nicest people I've ever met, and he always knew the right thing to say, whether I was playing well or whether I had just walked off the hole at the double bogey. So he's definitely had an impact in my life growing up. Many things he said still apply to me today. But also, Fort Wayne is growing up, has a wonderful junior golf committee, so they've got tournaments from kids, starting at 3-4 years old when I started doing. So it's just a big community that I was able to grow up playing golf with and meeting so many good friends throughout my childhood. And that's one of the many things that actually brought me to playing golf here, Division I golf here at IPFW. It was a lot of those friends I grew up knowing, playing golf against, and now I was able to come up and play with them as teammates. So I was very appreciative of that, and so we grew to become close friends over the years. So while we don't get to spend as much time seeing each other now as we did back then, it's whenever we get a group together, it's just like the time hasn't passed, and we still tell the same old stupid jokes and stupid stories, but they're just as funny now as they were 10 years ago. Well, and since a couple of them aren't here tonight, I guess I could poke a little bit of fun at them, but those range from Hart in the Clouds sleeping so long that he would lose track of what day of the week it was, miss team meetings, miss classes, practices. Remember calling him after we left the team meeting, and where were you? He's like, our meeting's not till Wednesday. Well, it is Wednesday. And also that meeting was at 4 p.m. in the afternoon. So, and another one would be Andy Campbell. We were kind of joking around on the driving range before a practice round at a college tournament, and he wanted to perfect a top shot with his driver, trying to just catch the ball right at the bottom of the club head and just watching it spin end over end. And he had done that too many times, because when we got to the first tee, of course, there was a pond right in front of the tee box, and that ball then proceeded to travel straight into the pond, no more than 30 yards off the tee. So it was just things like that, those memories that you just can't forget, has really made me appreciative of those guys I was able to spend those 4 years with. So, but outside of that, being a student here at Purdue Fort Wayne, studying, traveling, and learning to balance many priorities, and obviously I've got to mention one of those big priorities being my daughter Ava, that little smart, beautiful little girl. Now she's now 10 already, sitting there. So I was an accounting major here at Purdue Fort Wayne, and this place has opened so many doors for me. I've worked in so many fields as healthcare here at Parkview and Fort Wayne, and I now work in corporate retail in Columbus, Ohio at Bath & Body Works. So not only with the athletic side of the university, but very appreciative of what I was able to learn here on the academic side as well. So, again, Billy King, he's just a perfect fit for this program. And it was unfortunate I was only able to spend my last semester here with him, because anybody that spent any time with him, you can just see he's just got so much passion and energy for what he does, especially in the game of golf. But it's just being a part of this university, you just see him all over the place. So it was really enjoyable to be able to spend that time with him, but it's unfortunate I wasn't able to spend more. And again, he talked about Zach winning the Summit League championship last year, so it just shows that he's just continuing to bring in better and better talent every year. It's just exciting to see that program continuing to grow. So again, it gives me great pride to accept this recognition tonight in a city that's meant so much for me and my family. And I know I'll never be able to repay my parents for everything they've done for me over the years, but I just hope I continue to make you guys proud. So again, thank you. Thank you.
Congrats, Patrick, and thanks for sharing that. And so cool to learn how Hall of Famers for the Mastodons can come from far and near, growing up right here in Fort Wayne. Next up, pivoting to women's basketball and fresh off of a victory yesterday and kind enough to take a pause from preparing for a game tomorrow afternoon, women's basketball head coach Niecy Nelson.
Thank you, John. Good evening, everyone. I want to direct a little comment over here to this section. When Johanna comes up here, she's 5'3" in stature. You would have never known that because she played as if she was 6 foot tall. So as a coach, I just want to come up here and say there's no excuses, okay? When I was asked to introduce Johanna tonight, I was extremely honored. Ironically, 15 years ago when I accepted my first Division I assistant coaching position to work here at what was then IPFW, Johanna was entering school as a freshman on that very team. Johanna, at that time, she was so quiet, absolutely quiet. You thought she wasn't listening to you. And she got right on that court and she did exactly what you wanted. She had the quickest first step that you'd ever seen, and she was tenacious on defense. She was built, her stature was absolutely amazing, and you would think when she walked on the floor, this freshman, you thought she was built as already a senior, a seasoned senior. So it was a pleasure. I only got to coach Johanna for 1 year, but I will tell you what, in my time as a coach, I have not seen an athlete with that explosive first step. So it was a pleasure coaching her for that 1 year. Now you've seen and read all of her accolades, third in career points, 1,703 points. That's an amazing number when you think about it. And when you're thinking about coaching and playing and the short amount of time that you have to put up those points, okay? And in addition to leading in the top 10 in school history in several other categories, okay? That's a huge, huge accomplishment coming through here. Okay? But Johanna was so much more than the uniform that she put on, and her legacy is ingrained in our program's history. You see, Johanna was a pioneer. She chose IPFW during the transition from Division II to Division I. Now understand, during that type of transition, we weren't in a conference, okay, and there was no possibility of making a postseason tournament. Okay? She turned down a lot of opportunities to come here and make her mark. Again, it is every high school, college candidate's dream, okay, to play in the big dance. And her coming and choosing this university was a big, big, big leap of faith because she wanted to leave her mark. It takes a student athlete with high character to take on the responsibility to help lay a foundation for athletes to come. Johanna chose IPFW to help bring recognition to women's basketball program, and she did that. In the process, she not only left a mark on the court, she developed into a compassionate, caring leader for her teammates. And it is seen, it was so fun as we were mingling out here to come back, and this is 15 years ago. Kelly, you are in here. Hillary, I got to coach you for a year as well. And Candace, the best manager around. But just the people that have come to support her, okay, that is the mark that she left and the impression that she left on the people that she touched. Okay, I had an opportunity to talk with Johanna this week, and I could hear the attitude of gratitude in her voice, okay, through the phone. She didn't speak a whole lot of the basketball part of everything. She spoke so highly of her experience here with her teammates, with her coaching staff, with staff members within the department, and professors who helped shape the person she developed into during her time here. Again, I was honored to have been part of her journey, and I am honored to introduce you to the class of 2019 Hall of Fame inductee, Johanna Lewis-Carlisle.
Okay. All right. Hopefully I speak loud enough. Thank you to God for always being in my corner, even though I always didn't notice that he was there, but I thank God for always being in my corner. I struggled with many obstacles during my time at IPFW, but light was always at the end of the tunnel. Many of these college obstacles I learned from and helped me even to today. My mother was my strength on earth and always encouraged me until she passed away in 2017. Even with physical barriers, she was able to earn 3 degrees. I looked to her for motivation to do better with my education and not to just focus on basketball. My mother and I graduated both years together, 2014 and 2008. Thank you to my father that made it to all my local basketball games, for traveling to Fort Wayne many a times to see me play. My father was never easy on me. He still isn't. He always pushed me to beat the boys, always. I had to beat the boys. Whatever I did, I had to beat the boys. I remember a time that I missed my free throws in a game. Man, I think I had to be maybe 10, 11 years old probably. He gave me the blues about it. He made me shoot free throws for hours after the game, for a long time. At the time, I didn't understand, but his actions allowed me to gain a Division I scholarship to IPFW, and today to be noted as a Hall of Fame member at IPFW. IPFW will always be a place of joy for me, even though I struggled when I first got here in the beginning. Things weren't always peachy here, but I was always surrounded by people that truly cared for me. Walking in the gates today for an interview was very different. The school has changed more than its name. It is truly a Division I school. Some of the schools that my teammates and I played at looks like IPFW, well, Purdue University now, as far as, practice gyms and just the whole look of everything looks a lot different. A lot of hard work from a lot of people helped with the progression of this program, and I'm proud to have been a part of it. I'm sure my teammates feel the same way. It didn't hit me until I was contacted by Ms. Hartley for the Hall of Fame that our team really rocked. Our record didn't show it at times, but we were working for a better future, for a conference. This entry came my junior year, and we all were very excited that day. I just want to thank a few people. I want to thank my wife for coming here with me. Thank you for loving me and supporting me. Thank you to my sisters for coming. Since losing my mom, you guys are very close with me, and I appreciate it. I want to thank my sister's mom for coming. I want to thank her. I want to thank my brother-in-law, Benjamin, BJ, for coming. I want to thank my mom's best friend, Jewel, and her husband, Adam. That was my first, my first real camp that I went to. I wanted to play for Tennessee. They paid for me to go to my tournament, and I appreciate it. I remember it to this day. I want to thank my best friend, Rosie, for coming. She always has my back. I want to thank my teammates for coming. Got Kels, Hill, even Candace. He's the manager, but Candace. Hannah. I want to thank Hannah and Jen. She was actually my coach and you and Hill. Both of them were my coach and my teammate, so I want to thank them. I want to thank Dan's parents for coming. Thank you. I want to thank my old coaches, Charity. Thank you for coming. She was the first coach that I actually talked to about different obstacles in my life, and thank you. Jenny Hillary, of course. My teammates that couldn't make it, thank you for everything you've done for me. All my old coaches, all my old teammates, all my family members that couldn't make it. I want to thank Ashley Malone and Coach Hartley for helping me organize all this. I forgot a lot of people. They helped me last minute. I want to thank Coach Nisi for introducing me today, and I want to thank the Hall of Fame committee. Thank you much.
Well, Johnny, even if you made me look bad with Coach Nelson, congratulations. Rule 76, no excuse, play like a champion. I got it. Now, from one women's basketball Hall of Famer to another, and someone who's one of only 3 individuals to have their number retired up in the rafters at Gates, our next presenter, Lisa Miller McBride.
I think I'm changing things here. I'm sorry. I just changed the screen. I'm sorry about that. You're okay? Okay. Thank you. Well, it's a pleasure to be here tonight. Just thrilled to introduce Ms. Schreiber. It's hard to believe that there was once a time when women couldn't compete in many of the world's most popular sports. Tonight we recognize and honor an individual who had a spirit, a work ethic, and a belief that girls and women could and should have the opportunity to participate and compete in athletics. This spirit and passion to create opportunity for women has driven Ms. Schreiber throughout her life as she has truly become a pioneer of the women's athletics in Fort Wayne area. In 1975, Mary Schreiber became the first women's athletic coordinator at IPFW for women's basketball, volleyball, and softball. As coordinator, Mary coached all 3 of these teams, scheduled games and hired officials for all the teams, coordinated travel arrangements for all 3 teams, including driving players to and from competition, created budgets for these programs, ordered equipment and uniforms, and worked to find female athletes that wanted the opportunity to play sports. These, along with numerous other responsibilities that go along with coaching and managing athletic teams, was a job that was amazingly considered just part-time. Along with her efforts at IPFW, Ms. Schreiber was also a supervisor for the Fort Wayne Parks Department. She served several terms for the City Baseball and Softball Commission. She founded the Fort Wayne Women's Basketball and Flag Football League, which provided women opportunity to participate and compete in recreational leagues. And since 1966, Ms. Schreiber has been a catalyst in the Catholic Youth Organization in Fort Wayne. She pushed for physical education programs and sports participation as a coach, as a teacher, and as an administrator. And she is currently the president of the Catholic Youth Organization, or the CYO. Ms. Schreiber has been in education for 40 years. These past 20 years have been in administration, including her current position as principal at Benoit Academy. In 1993, she was named National Catholic Education Association Principal of the Year. And in 1994, named Department of Education National Distinguished Principal of the Year. In 2005, IPFW created the Mary Schreiber Award of Excellence for her diligent work and pioneering spirit in women's athletics. 3 words come to mind when I think of my former teacher and coach: servant, sincere, and humble. Upon hearing about her selection to the Purdue Fort Wayne Hall of Fame, Mary said, and I quote, "I'm truly humbled and grateful for this honor. No one ever does the work that we do with the thought of a reward or an honor at the end. We do it because there is a need in society for a group of people that were not included in what others had enjoyed." And in this case, the female gender enjoying and competing in athletics as our male gender was able to do. I'm glad and proud to have been part in bringing that opportunity to females, end of quote.
It is a privilege to be here tonight to recognize and congratulate all our new members to the Purdue Hall of Fame. It's a great honor and a privilege to introduce and thank a former teacher, a former role model of mine, Ms. Schreiber. Thank you for paving the way for women and for giving us the opportunity to compete in athletics in the Fort Wayne area. I introduce you, Ms. Mary Schreiber.
Oh, I hope I don't touch these buttons either, Lisa, like you did. I can just see it now. I am not familiar with technology and so forth. I'm still from the old school. Okay. Lisa, thank you so much for those very kind words. And I also keep telling my former students, if they're ever comfortable, they can call me Mary, but I get called Ms. Schreiber quite a bit. I was called that for many, many years. You know, tonight, I realize I'm the one up here now being honored, but I'm going to have to tell you, though, that I want to honor other people here tonight. Not just thank you, but honor you. Because you know what? Back then, back there in the 70s, it was not right to play or to be on any women's team, sports, or whatever. It just wasn't done. And so we had to, what we call, blaze a trail. And it was never easy to blaze a trail, but it was always worth it. And how, oh, look, I've been touching that. I knew that would happen. Just look at that. Well, it's going to stay wherever it goes. I told you that would happen. Okay, so much for pictures now. Here we go. You know, when people are blazing trails, you think about a spirit that's inside of people. And let me give you just a couple examples. Susan B. Anthony, she says, well, if men can vote, why can't we? Same with people like Rosa Parks. Well, these people can sit any place on the bus they want. Well, why can't we? I'm tired. I want to sit down. Why can't we? And it's the same thing with Billie Jean King. She said, men got to play and pay for playing tennis. Why can't the women? That's a spirit that's inside of people. It's inside of you right now. And so everything's a beginning. We're blazing the trails. The duties, I think Lisa spelled them all out, so I'm not going to go through those again, okay? And you're right. It was only a part-time position when I started here at IPFW. My full-time job was as a teacher. So what I did was all part-time. 3 o'clock on was to IPFW. And let me just give you just a couple examples of some of the things that happened during that time. First of all, she's right about finding the women to play. We had to find out who in the university, the college, did you want to play? Did you want to come out? And so we had to find the women. And no scholarships were offered back then. Not only were scholarships not offered, but when we wanted to go to games or so forth, we had to use our own cars. We had to pay for our own gas. We had to pay for our own meals. Oh, well, there was a budget, okay. But anybody who knows anything about budget, you know our budget was very low. And so at that time, by the way, speaking about having to eat out, we ate out quite a bit at McDonald's. And we paid our own. But you know what? I was thinking the other day, Clemson, they got to go to the White House, you know, the football champions, but guess what they got to eat? McDonald's. How about that? So I guess we weren't in bad company way back then either. We also had a hard time finding a place to practice and also to play. Where could we do that? Well, because the men had a lot of the places, okay? So where we practiced and played at was at the Central High School. After it closed, the gym was still in operation. So that's where we practiced and where we played and so forth. And so we had to blaze a trail. But you know, I started out by saying there's other people that I really want to honor tonight. And it's a whole group of you, not individually, okay? So at this time, here are the people I want to honor, all right? I would like, first of all, to honor those who played back then, back there in the 70s, the first teams. And at this stage of the game, I think there's only one in the audience that I see, Leanne Powers. She was on the very first teams here, volleyball, softball. Thank you, Leanne. But Leanne, I'm going to ask you to do one more thing. Would you please stand up and stay standing? Please do not sit down, okay? You're going to, yeah, just like that. I tell you, that's the old teacher coming out. Okay, and old is right. Okay, how about now any woman who has played any organized sport at any college, university, high school, grade school, any of the sports. I don't care if it's volleyball, softball, track, swimming, whatever. Would you please stand? Any woman who did any of those, would you stand? Okay. And please, don't you sit down either. You stay standing. Besides, your legs need to get the exercise. Okay, now I would like to have any woman who was organizing sports, any who were workers in a sport, you kept the scorebooks, you did anything like that, any who was officials, whether, I don't care what sport it was, anybody who was coaches, an athletic director, any teachers here, any of you, and I don't care if it was organized or recreational. And by recreational, I mean our pickleball now and all these other, our badminton. Would any of you women, would you please stand? Now, there surely has to be a few more. Has to be. Okay. Ladies, you are the ones I want to see you honored tonight because you came out and you then participated in all of this because we wouldn't have sports or anything without you, and you carry it on. So I say to you, thank you, and I honor you. Thank you. Please. And now you can sit down. Now you're allowed to sit down. And you know, I also, at the beginning, I want to say single out any one individual because I just know I'll forget somebody and then I would be in deep doo-doo, and I don't want to be in deep doo-doo land. And so the last person who I want to honor personally is somebody who helped us back there and when we were IPFW there, back there in the 70s, and without his help, we wouldn't have had the program built up the way it is now. We needed workers. He was there for us. We needed drivers. He was there for us. We needed financial help. He was there for us. And I want to honor Dr. Dave Skelton, who helped us. Dr. Dave, please stand. Doctor, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Dave Skelton. I thank you. Thank you, Dave. We couldn't have done it without you. And with that, my friends, I want to thank all of you for the honor tonight and for all of you being here. God bless you all. Keep up the good work. Thank you.
Well, I don't think I'm quite worthy of standing up here right now after that. Congratulations, Mary. Thank you for blazing the trail that you did, and thank you for still inspiring us here to this day. So I don't want to have to try to follow up after you right now. Our final presenter here tonight as we go over to men's basketball, former head coach Doug Knoll. Doug?
That's hard to follow. But thank you for the broadcast. I greatly appreciate it. I was watching the other night, and I think your sidekick, Jeff Parrish, and you were talking and said, I think Coach Knowles down front in the first row, and Jeff goes, well, I think he moved to South Carolina. And yeah, but his son Brad is in the front row, but it's actually Pinehurst, so it is North Carolina. But thank you for that. And on Kelly's itinerary, I think we're supposed to close at 9, and it's 8:30. So I got about a half hour, I think. Except I'm an old guy, and I'll probably have to go to the bathroom in about 10 minutes. So we'll make it short. But Coach Kaufman's here. It's fantastic. Playing tomorrow. Nisi's playing tomorrow. If you guys want to leave right now, go prepare. Be my guest, and that would be great. And good luck tomorrow night. It's a great weekend. Thank you for being here. And congratulations to all the inductees of the Hall of Fame here tonight. It's a special night, and you can be very proud. Your families, your friends are here, and what an honor to culminate this Hall of Fame award. You know, as you go through life as an athlete, you always have goals, and there's probably more goal setters in this room than anywhere else in Fort Wayne tonight, because we're all athletes, we're all goal setters. You want, through high school, you want to make the varsity, and then you want to be all conference, and then as a senior you want to get a scholarship, and then you move forward to some playing time in college, and then all conference. But I've never heard anybody say my goal is to be in the Hall of Fame. Nobody, because you never think of that. But it's a byproduct of everything all of you have done from day one, and I commend that. It was the spring of 1999 when I was hired as the men's basketball coach, and thanks for not putting my record up there. I appreciate it. They do that at the Coliseum once in a while. My granddaughter took a picture of it and said, Grandpa, your name's up here. Okay, thank you. But I got a call from a former coach of mine, Phil Hoskins, who was my coach at Grace College, and I coached with him at Malone College in Canton, Ohio. And he said, are you still recruiting? And I said, absolutely. He said, what are you looking for? And I said, well, you know, we're in a change here of the culture, and we really want to get some good student athletes in here. We want, obviously, some good character kids, and we want good players. And he said, well, I've got a player for you. And he said, man, can he stroke the ball? He's from Plymouth, and he went to Ball State for a year. And things didn't work out exactly how he wanted, and he's looking for a school. And I said, well, thanks, Coach, that's great. And so I got in touch with his mom and dad, Bob and Debbie, and they're here tonight. And we got Nick on campus. And I said, well, let's look at campus, and then we're going to play a little bit with the guys and just see how you're doing. So I first met Nick, and he came out, and I kind of noticed, like, you know, he had kind of a white T-shirt on, but it wasn't really white. It was kind of dark, and his hair was kind of messy, but that was okay. You know, he looked kind of like a player, and so Coach had said he was just this great shooter. And I turned around, he took a couple shots, and, like, my mouth just dropped. And for the golfers here, Patrick and Coach King and everything, I mean, you've all seen Jim Furyk's golf swing. And it's kind of funky, but at the end, you know, in impact, it's right where it's at. And I turn around, and he clanks 3 off the rim, and I'm like, Coach, what are you doing to me? And then I turn around again, and he makes the next 13 threes in a row. And I'm like, whew. And I started to look, and the follow-through was right at impact. It was just perfect. And throughout his career, Nick was the epitome of a player that just played. He didn't say anything. It wasn't raw. You couldn't get anything out of him. I didn't even know if he could speak for about the first 3 months. And he would grunt a little bit, but you know what you were getting with him, because basically he came to practice every day. He played extremely hard. In the games, he took over games and did just a tremendous job. And he just epitomized what we wanted in a player at Purdue Fort Wayne, or IPFW at the time. Let me just talk a little bit about Nick. He's 6th all-time in the program in scoring. He's 2nd in career 3-point field goals. He's third in three-point field goals in a season. He was all GLVC for 2 years. And I honestly believe, and congratulations to John Conchar for becoming the all-time leading scorer last night, ahead of Frank Gaines. But if Nick Wise played at IPFW for 4 years, John would still be chasing Nick in his career. Again, it was just a tremendous 3 years to start the program and have people like Nick. And it says a lot because a lot of the guys are back. A lot of the guys couldn't make it tonight are coming back tomorrow. And that just says a lot about who he is and his character. And I can tell you this, Nick Wise sure didn't need IPFW at the time, but IPFW sure needed Nick Wise. So come on up, Nick, and get your award.
Wow, it's an incredible event here. I'm so honored to be here. First off, I want to thank Kelly and the selection committee for inducting me. It's a big surprise, but I'm extremely honored and very humbled by this. I also want to thank congratulate all the other inductees. This seems like a really special class, and you know, I'm extremely honored to go in with these great people. And you know, Mary, your speech was incredible. So having to follow that here is a little tough, but no, congratulations to everybody. I've got some people that I really want to you know, give some special thanks to that have helped me get to this point right here. First off, Coach Knoll. As he said, he's living in Pinehurst, North Carolina now. So I was looking at my Weather Channel app this morning, and 55 degrees, I think, this weekend in Pinehurst. He could be playing golf this weekend versus being here in chilly Fort Fun. So I really want to thank Coach Knoll for being here. It's special that you know, that he's here and can celebrate in this weekend. You know, I certainly wouldn't be here without him. He took a chance on me, and you know, I will always be grateful for that. And you know, one of my biggest regrets is that we weren't able to get him some more W's. He was dealt a pretty tough hand in our transition from Division II to Division I. You know, we had, I think, 26 road games my third year here. That's a lot. When you're going on the road for 2 or 3 road games every single week, you know, that's tough on your family, certainly, and it's tough to win games. So I want to thank Coach, and I know he put his heart and soul into the program, and you know, we were really close in a lot of games and just couldn't quite get over that hump. But you know, it certainly wasn't for a lack of trying with Coach. I also want to thank Assistant Coach Joe Pachota. I talked to Coach P this afternoon. He was going to try to make it today and just didn't quite make it. He's a head coach at Siena Heights University in Michigan. And Coach P was played a big role, certainly, in my development. He was one of those guys that he would ride you hard during practice. And as soon as practice is over, you know, he put his arm around you and tell you that he loved you. And it certainly wasn't me; it was all the players. And you know, he's one of those guys that you could talk about on the court and off the court stuff. And he was just a good guy that you could really connect with. And in his defense, not being here tonight, I was going to kind of give him some ribbing about all the horse games that we played after practice, and I would just beat him down, but he would keep on coming back for more. He was persistent like that, you know. but no, yeah. So Coach Pete, played a big role, certainly in my development here, and I also want to recognize teammates that are here. I certainly wouldn't be here without you guys. Quite a few of them are going to come here, whether it's tonight or tomorrow, to share in this. And there were certainly some great guys that it just makes it even more special that they're here this weekend to celebrate. And it's been 17 years. It's crazy to even say that, but I'm happy that we can connect this weekend. And I also want to recognize my family. They've been kind of loud down here in the front here. My beautiful wife of 10 years, Megan. My 3-year-old, I think, got carted out early on. Elena, Tucker, and Dylan back there. One of the neat things with this is I think my 8-year-old thinks I'm kind of cool for about 10 minutes here. And I'll go back to being dad, which is pretty awesome too. And then certainly last but not least, I want to recognize my parents, Bob and Deb Wise, back there in the back. My dad's wearing the wrong color sweater. He's got a red sweater on back there, but he's got the Indiana part, but the Purdue part not so much. But some of my earliest memories, certainly were just shooting jump shot after jump shot in our driveway, and it seemed at the time that they loved nothing more than to just rebound for me and be out there, whether it was January or June. They were always out there with me, and I was lucky enough they were both teachers, and we had keys to the local elementary school 5 minutes from the house, and a lot of good memories playing there, and having open gyms and pickup games there. So certainly all the love and support that they gave me was amazing. And back when you're 22 years old, it's tough to tell them thank you for all that. And to it's nice now that looking back on, I've got this chance, I can tell them thank you. I joke with them that I think they have the record for the most miles traveled by the parents of a player. It seems like they were just always there, whether we were, that last year we had 20, 25, 26 road games, and they just always seemed to make every road trip. And it's pretty amazing. So love you guys, and thank you for everything.
Nick, congratulations, and Coach Noel, make sure to talk to the graphics department, and we'll get that cut out. At this time, would like to bring Nick and everyone in our 2018-2019 Hall of Fame class back up to the front of the room to be recognized together. You guys can stay up here. It is an honor that we have 9 additional members of the Hall of Fame who've joined us here tonight. So at this time, I'll introduce our 9 Hall of Famers and ask them to come up to the front of the room to be recognized as well. Linda Ballphaser, supporter. Mark Franke, men's volleyball. Daniel Gebhardt, men's basketball. Mike Harper, men's soccer. Larry Lee, supporter. Clara Meyer, women's volleyball. Lisa Miller McBride, women's basketball. Ron Pfeiffer, men's soccer. And Doc Skelton.
I'll get down here. Good looking.
I think we can squeeze you all in right there. Coach Noel, I was just settling in. I was just getting cozy. I thought you were going to take us right through till maybe 10 o'clock. I was going to keep the bar open a little longer and everything. On a serious note, this is truly one of my favorite evenings of the year. Those speeches, as you all shared, it just is something that we talk about the accolades, we talk about statistics and numbers all the time, and that's not what tonight was about at all after hearing those speeches. So thank you for sharing your speeches with us, everybody, inductees. Let's hear it for them one more time. And again, Chancellor, thank you for being here. Reminders on your way out, inductees and members of the Hall of Fame. We have small gifts for you outside. They can get them as they leave. Don't rush, though. The bar is still open, right? So please feel free to mingle. And hope to see you tomorrow at 3 o'clock at the women's basketball game. There's a party in between. And then the men's basketball game following at 7 o'clock. The party is in the field house. Some of you, maybe if you were here 10 years ago or more, maybe have not been in that field house yet. Welcome. And anything I'm forgetting, Ashley? Housekeeping stuff? All right. Well, thanks for sharing and a great evening. Oh, Coach Kaufman. Oh, settle in. Never mind.
Yes, I'm going to do this side. All right, so the last thing is our compliance officer and I are getting together in a few moments. We didn't shoot it real well last night. We're going to see what that extra good Dick has, see if we can sort him up.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Thank you, everybody. Be safe, and please stay as long as you want. It's a night to celebrate. Good night.